Hi there, this is Penelope. This is a video where I'm going to do the last sheet of the PDF that's got all of these questions on, the one that's called Mega Hard Problems. So I'm going to look at these ones here, I'm going to look at each of them in turn, and I've written them on the separate pages following. Right, number one. What we've got to do here is we've got to use the rules of powers. The negative power means that we can flip the fraction, but hang on a minute, we need to change that to a fraction first. So we need to rewrite that as 9 over 4. The same with this one. And then what we need to do is, as I said, flip because of the negative power. This is a fairly simple one because now we can go straight to saying, well, 4 to the power of a half is 2 over 3 times 27 to the power of a third is 3 over 8 to the power of a third, which is 2. That's 1. Second question, again, has a negative power in it and a decimal, so we need to change that to a fraction before we can do anything. So what do? We need to flip that. Now, not much we can do with the first term, but we can do something with the second one. We can rewrite it as 5 to the third times 2 to the third. Now what have we got? We've got 4 to the third times 5 to the third times 2 to the third over 5 to the third, and that's going to cancel one of those out, and we're left with, now what do? We could say 4 is 2 squared, so we could write that as 2 to the power of a third times 2 to the power of a third times the last term, which is 2. Interesting. Okay, next question, number 3. Number 3, again, we've got a decimal in it, so we need to change that to a fraction before we can deal with the negative power. The 1.5 is 3 over 2. And we could put that as 1 over 16 to the power of positive a half. I've done it sort of mixed up there. 81 to the power of 3/4. Okay, so now I'm going to flip. I flipped that one already. Now, 81 to the power of 3/4 is the 4th root of 81, which is 3 cubed, which is 27. So we've got 2 squared times 1 times 27, and on the bottom line we've got 3 squared times, now the square root of 16 would be 4, and okay, so we've got 2 squared cancelling with the 2 squared, 3 to the power of 2, which is 9, cancelling with 27, which leaves us with 3. Even more interesting. Let's see if the answer to this one is 4. Okay, we could just do that. Now, let's sort of move it along a bit quicker this time. We've got 6 to the power of a half times 8 to the power of a half. That's this term. And then we've got 9 to the power of a 6th. And I'm just going to leave 3 to the power of negative 5/6 for the moment. Now I can split 6 to the half into 3 to the half times 2 to the half, and I can, so that's my 3 to the half, 6 to the half times that, and then I'm going to split 8 to the half into 2 to the half times 4 to the half. So can I do colours? Can I do, so this now, this one now becomes these two terms, and this term becomes these two terms, and then I have got 9 to the power of a sixth, which is 3 squared to the power of a sixth times the last term. So we've got 3 to the half times 2 to the half times 2 to the half times 4 to the half times 3 to the 2/6 to the third times 3 to the negative 5/6. If we add our powers of 3, we get 3 to the power of 0, and if we deal with that one as well and make that into, well, just write it as 2, we don't even need to think about that one, and then we'd have 2 to the power of a half times 2 to the power of a half, which is 2, times 4 to the power of a half, which is 2, and we got 4. Right, okay, that was good. So the next one, we're pretty sure, is going to equal 5. We'll do the same thing. We'll split 20, we'll split 100, and we'll deal with the last term in a minute. So we're going to write that 20 is 4 to the 2/3 times 5 to the 2/3. Then we're going to divide that by, what do we divide it by? 5 times 5 times 4. Then we're going to multiply that. Oops, we're going to multiply that by 5 to the power of 2/3 over 2 to the power of 3 over 2 to the power of 2/3 as well. Sure, we can combine those up a little bit. Right, on our top line, let's have 4 to the 2/3, and then we've got 5 to the 2/3 times 5 to the 2/3, so that's 5 to the 4/3. And on the bottom line, we're going to have 5 to the 2/6, which we can write as 5 to the 2/3 times 4 to the 6th times 2 to the 1 from the last term. 2 to the 1. Okay, so what have we got? I think that should be 1/3, not 2/3. So 1/6 times the 6 is 1/3. Right, on the top then we can rewrite 4, or maybe we could do that. So 4 to the 2/3 is 2 to the 2/3 times 2 to the 2/3 times 5 to the 4/3 over, I'll just shift my 5 to the 3rd along a bit, times 2 times, now the 4 to the 6th I can split as 2 to the 6th times 2 to the 6th. Okay, maybe some progress. On the top line then, we've got 2 to the power of 4/3 times 5 to the power of 4/3. On the bottom line, we've got 2 to the power of 3rd times 2. That'll be also 2 to the power of 4/3 times 5 to the 3rd, and yes, we've got that is equal to 5. 5 to the power of 1. And then the last one. Right, same thing. We're going to write out 12 as 4 to the power of a third times 3 to the power of a third divided by 9 to the power of a sixth times 9 to the power of a sixth, and then also that's going to be times 2 times, now 162 is 2 times 3 to the power of 4, which is going to be to the power of 3. What can we do now? We could say that 4 to the power of a third is 2 to the power of a third times 2 to the power of a third, so 2 to the power of 2/3 times 3 to the power of a third divided by 3 to the power of 2/6 times 3 to the power of 2/6, whoops, times 2 to the power of a third times 3 to the power of 4/3. Now on the top line, we're going to have 2 to the power of 2/3 times 2 to the power of a third, which is just plain 2. And then we could do it all in one go for the powers of 3. We could say 4 over 3 plus 1 over 3 minus, somewhere I should have, minus 2/3 from the bottom line, which is equal to 2 times 3 to the power of 1, which is 6. Yes!